ETs are now accepted at the highest levels of government. We believe that the SETI program is camouflage for what is really going on, or the contact reports that have been gotten out from the government under the Freedom of Information Act are in fact cover for the SETI program. But the two, we believe, are going to merge in the end and introduce mankind to the aliens, who are in reality demons and Satan's advanced guard. The movies that are produced are very important. Satan plants a seed, he waters it, then he sits back and watches it grow, and then he reaps the harvest. And the harvest, of course, is the loss of millions upon millions of men. The Day the Earth Stood Still was produced many years ago, but it's a very, very important film in that it planted the seed. The Day the Earth Stood Still said that war must stop, peace must be enforced, and world government is a requirement to get all of this to happen. The message was very important. E.T., a very, very popular movie, taught us some things as well. It said that reptiles are very cute, that love is the answer, that love heals, but more importantly, that we all evolve in a different manner. You're going to find evolution at the bottom of all of these movies. And Star Wars is another one. How famous they were. Well, they're programming the human mind for certain things. One, evolution of the races, good and evil forces, a universal, eternal fight between the forces of good and evil, and more importantly, a federation of planets. A uniting of the nations, a uniting of all the planets. Mankind will evolve upwards and eventually will join in intergalactic civilization. And this is the important keynotes in every one of these movies. Close Encounters of the Third Kind was a very, very important film. It bases itself on evolution. Two, that the United Nations is a central player in that movie. The U.S. military is connected to the United Nations in that movie, and that mankind will join interplanetary civilization. It starts by contact, by exchanges of the races. In other words, some of our people go there, and some of their people come here. Now, something surfaced not too long ago called Majestic 12, that dealt with government contact with aliens. A lot of people laugh at this document and think it's a hoax. Our research against the Bible would say that it is not a hoax, that this actually is legitimate and that contact has been made. Operation Majestic 12 is a top-secret research and development intelligence operation established by special classified executive order of President Truman. Now, this took place back some years ago. Very interesting, however, what Majestic 12 sets up. A rancher reported that a UFO had crashed in a remote region of New Mexico. You might have even seen this replayed on Unsolved Mysteries. They ran a series on this. A secret operation was begun to assure recovery of the wreckage of this object. Aerial reconnaissance discovered that four small human-like beings had ejected from the craft. All four were dead. News reporters were given the effective story that the object had been a weather balloon. They are discounting the UFOs to the public while they gather the evidence secretly. The biological and evolutionary, there's your key, processes responsible for their development has apparently been quite different from those in Homo sapiens. Evolution is then a proven fact insofar as the government is concerned. They have accepted evolution as an established fact. The aliens then did not evolve as we did. This is the very basis of the grand delusion. It's creation versus evolution. Evolution is essential for the grand delusion because men reject the creation of the world and people by Jesus Christ. So it's very important you understand that evolution is the keynote. The ultimate intentions of these visitors is completely unknown, the report said. But if you read the Bible, you will know they are demons, and you will know they are the advanced guard of Satan, and that they are setting up the world for its final ruin and taking of people into eternal hell. UFOs are real. There's no question about that they are real. The only question is what are they? And if you take the evidence of the scriptures, definitely we believe here at least that they are the sons of God returning just exactly as they said they would, in all the occultic literature talks about this. Now there is an area out west called Area 51, Groom Lake. There's also Tonopah. There are several areas from which Project Red Light was developed. It's a top secret testing program for alien technology for defense purposes. This is very interesting that a lot of this stuff is being leaked right at this moment as we get into this. A congressman said, I have no comment as to what is going on in Area 51. That was Congressman Harry Reid, and he went out there to visit the area because the Air Force had made a land grab, and he went out there on behalf of his constituents to find out why. It is said that President Eisenhower signed a treaty with actual aliens in 1957. The swap was they could take our people for experimentation, and we would get technology in exchange. In other words, the aliens come to Earth, we take their technology to build our defense mechanisms. Now, a lot of people think this is ridiculous, but if you read what it says about Babylon the Great, the nation, it gets all of its technology from Satan. Satan is the one that gives them the power. And this is why the United Nations is being brought up. And this is why the United States is so deeply involved. In exchange for technology, the U.S. government agreed to allow the aliens to abduct humans for experiments. And this accounts for the large number of abductions reported all over America. This is part of the grand delusion, which has evolution at the root of it. Now you have actually two options. All of the leaks of this type of information are disinformation, where it is real and the aliens really are here. The Bible evidence would be that it is real, the aliens are here, and that they are the advanced guard for Satan. He's programming the human race for this delusion, and it's based upon evolution. The sons of God of Genesis 6 have returned, as they said they would in occult writings. And Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so would it be again. And that's when the sons of God came down. So therefore, the agenda of Iron Mountain for external threat number 2 has been and is being carried out. Scientists are even going to the UN now to find out how are we going to answer these aliens from our SETI contacts at NASA. They believe the UN should do all of this. And so you see it elevates the United Nations to power. And this is very important because part of the Iron Mountain agenda. It might be argued that a well-armed international police force operating under the authority of such a supernatural court could well serve this purpose. In other words, they're going to set up another threat. This is threat number 3, actually, an omnipresent, virtually omnipotent political or police force. It's an international police force. Because remember, if we go into peace, we have to dissolve the nations, because war is the reason we have nations. All right, so the report then that was issued by the State Department, Freedom from War, and the program was to establish a permanent international peace force within the United Nations. In other words, to deliberately bring it up. the peacekeeping